So, this is one of those videos where I decided, fuck it, let's just do this. And you'll usually see a lot of these videos from time to time of just, fuck it, whatever, let's just have some fun. And yeah, as you can see from the title, turning Avatar characters, or I'll probably title it Avatar Legend of Korra characters, into Primarchs. Because why not? So yeah, we're gonna have male and female characters. We're gonna talk about the Space Marines, what they do, and maybe talk about which ones would probably fall to Chaos or not. Anyway, so let's get started with one I've kinda used before. Our first Primarch is Korra. So Primarch Korra would be, her Space Marines would be the Ursa Majors. The Ursa Majors would be basically these heavy assault Space Marines who have all-terrain train. Like, basically, they're good for, like, rough death worlds. Like, if you're going to, like, a planet like Katakan or some, Katakan or, like, some death world or some wayward deep space planet that hasn't been explored and probably has a Xeno population there, you send in the Ursa Majors to clear out that area. Korra herself would be a psyker who can basically, like, bend all four elements. She's also capable of unleashing that psyker power to an even greater level when she's near death. So there you go. Next up, we have Aang. Aang's Space Marines are the Windwalkers. The Windwalkers are a group of light infantry who specialize in hit-and-run tactics. They move as fast as the wind, essentially. Aang himself is the most gentle of these in this group of 20 Primarchs. He usually also tries to, he tries to negotiate. He tries to, like, negotiate peace and whatever. He even studies how to battle Xeno combat. To know your enemy, you have to understand your enemy's tactics. So he does spend time learning about how to fight other alien races. However, he does see that, like, there is some. He won't admit it to the other Primarchs, but he does admit that, like, the Imperium would be better off if we united with another race, preferably the Tau or the Eldar. That's really all that's all they really have in terms of, like, good allies. In terms of, like, battling the Necrons, the Orcs, and the Tyranids and Chaos, they really only have one or two options. He believes if we can team up with either the Eldar or the Tau, or even both, probably be for the best for everyone, but he won't admit that out loud. Next up, we have Zuko and the Fire Lords. Zuko himself is a brash and headstrong Primarch who and his Space Marines are all fire-based. They're all, like, heavy flamers. They all have a lot of fire-based weaponry at their disposal. It's also that Zuko himself is a lot like Angron, only if he didn't fall to Chaos. Where he didn't get if Angron didn't get the Butcher's Nails, this would be Zuko right here. He also gained a scar on his face from essentially what happened was he was battling a group of Necrons. One blasted him in the face, and instead of being healed, he instead wears that scar on his face as, like, a holy marker and a inspiration to his sons, the Fire Lords. Next up, we have Toph. Toph is a little more is one of the few genetic defects of this group of Primarchs, where in here she was born, or her gene seed was slightly corrupted. Ergo, she is born blind. However, her other senses were enhanced greatly. So while she cannot see, she can sense everything around her. Her sons, the Sand Dragons, have that same kind of defect where they cannot see, but all 5 of their other senses are enhanced to a level that allows them to basically see without seeing. The Sand Dragons are more for desert combat, but they're good anywhere. Then following, we have our first, like, I guess you could say our first Chaos Primarch, and that is Azula and her Space Marines, the Dominators. Azula would probably fall to Slaanesh. Of any of them, she'd probably fall to Slaanesh as instead of, like, Angron or something. This would be her group, the Dominators, are all designed with the strike first, strike hard, and strike with no mercy kind of Cobra Kai shit going on. Her Space Marines, her sons, the Dominators, are vicious, brutal, and masters of torture and interrogation. Would you think anything less for Azula? Then we have Mako and the Red Lightnings. The Red Lightnings are all speed. They're like the White Scars. They're all about speed and hitting fast. Mako himself is a stern and level-headed leader. He also has to break up his other Primarchs from arguing with each other. Then you have Primarch Bolin and his group, the Stonebreakers. These guys are essentially made for trench warfare. These guys are built to are like Space Marine versions of Kriegsmen. Bolin himself is a light-hearted person, but when it comes to war, he's good at it. Then we have Jet and the Shadow Stalkers. Jet's group and the Shadow Stalkers are all like covert ops. They're all about like hitting from the shadows, hence the name. And Jet himself is plagued by he's basically plagued by all the war crimes they've committed in the name of the Emperor. He is basically our Conrad Kurz, where yes, I think Jet would fall to chaos, but wouldn't be part necessarily of, I guess you could say, the Azula heresy. Then we have Zhao and the Burning Knights, another Chaos Primarch. Zhao himself would be a master of siege warfare. He would be like our Perturabo, where he basically perfectly designs every outcome in his head and plans for any kind of siege and executes it to its fullest extent. And such are the Burning Knights, his Space Marines, who are all capable and brilliant tacticians in their own right. Then you have Sokka and the Night Wolves. Sokka is a more level-headed and more emotional feeling Rogel Dorn, where he is all about like building defenses and countering any kind of siege plans. He's also very quick-witted and learns from his mistakes. So think of him as a mixture of Rogel and Gilliman. His Space Marine group are the Night Wolves. Then you have Katara, who she also had a defect, a genetic defect in her gene seed that her group, the Frost Angels, have too. Essentially, they're like the Blood Angels, where they have a thirst for blood, but however, Katara sacrificed her need to heal herself of the bloodthirsty defect, and instead healed her sons, and the Frost Angels, and in her name they will do whatever they can to help others. They're all basically like Space Marines, but they're also trained medics as well. They're like all one big apothecary. Then you have Asami and the Steel Saviors. Asami and the Steel Saviors are the most logical and most technologically advanced of this group. Her Space Marines are all brilliant engineers, and all of them can come up with building like a huge death weapon in a matter of hours. Asami herself constantly advances her armor, despite the chagrin to the other Primarchs. Then we have Suki and the Kyoshi Warriors, because the name was too perfect, it was going to be here. So here, Kyoshi is a planet, and Suki personally trains all of her sons of the Kyoshi Warriors. She also has female warrior conscripts that she brings in to help train and fight alongside her Space Marines. They're like her own personal sisters of battle. Then we have Amon and the Bloodbenders. Amon has the same defect as Katara, but he instead gives into it. At first he would feed on the, Xenos blood and whatever, but now it's just like, fuck, I'll do whatever. And the Bloodbenders are the same, where he makes his sons suffer alongside him rather than try to heal them. Then we have Ty Lee and the Free Angels. The Free Angels are where Ty Lee is, even though she is a Primarch, she doesn't really consider herself as like, oh, I'm just so good, and I'll lead my Legion into battle. She's more like, I just kind of don't want to do that. I don't like war. I don't like any of that. So she basically gives her Legion like a lot of free space and a lot of free roam to do as they please. Some of the Space Marines like it, some of them don't. Then you have May and the Night Eaters. May and the Night Eaters are all based around night combat. They are all, you know, special ops. They are all capable of any kind of battle. Like, in the darkness, they are king. They also, all of the armor they have has cloaking technology to it that allows them to move past defenses. It's something they kind of keep to themselves because they know it's an advancement that is kind of heretical. So yeah, she's a Chaos Primarch. Then we have our next Chaos Primarch, Zahir, and the Truth Bearers. He's basically Lorgar. Like, this version of Zahir is basically our Lorgar in a way. He also, his sons are all like priests that all bear the word of chaos. So there you go. And then finally we have Primarch Pian Dao, the oldest of the Primarchs, and his Marines, the Blade Lords. They're all masters of close quarters combat. They all specialize in like swords and axes and knives. They do use bolters, but they prefer to fight you like face to face. Like, think an army of Cato Sicarius in a way. So there you go, guys. That was kind of a video I had in mind. I've been wanting to do something like this, and I was just like, fuck it. Let's just have some fun with this quick video. But you guys tell me in the comments below, what do you guys think of these Primarch versions of Avatar and Legend of Korra characters? Just comment below, let me know. Other than that, I hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.